Chair, will the minister commit to taking the Canadian firearm safety course so he'll know what he's talking about?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I do not intend to purchase a firearm or use a firearm.
And start backing off on some of these folks. And again, here in Alberta, Premier Daniel Smith has instructed, saying we don't want to be spending precious taxpayer dollars provincially for police to go door to door, ranch to ranch, saying, "Hi, I'm here to seize your property." And I don't know any frontline police officer that is keen to be doing that. This is just, it should be a non-issue, but unfortunately it looks like they're going to be trying to plow ahead with this. But good on Andrew Lawton for exposing that.
Yeah. Speaking of spending money, just again with zero accountability, and actually what chiefs of police say will result in zero impact on violent crime. We are seeing the Liberals double, triple, quadruple down on Justin Trudeau's gun grab. I knew this was coming when they selected Natalie Provost from Poly-Sissouvillon as their star candidate. And so I knew once you take someone from Canada's leading gun grab organization who quit Trudeau's gun grab panel because it wasn't grabbing Canadian guns fast enough, I knew Canada's firearms owning community, we were in for an immediate wild ride. And from the taxpayer's perspective, whether or not you own firearms, you should care about how your money is being spent with a little to no impact on rising crime rates. And it looks like Trudeau's gun grab, which is now Carney's gun grab, the cost is going to be approaching $1 billion by the time it's done. I think it'll be worse than that, with roughly about $1/3 of $1 billion allocated in the very near future.
Yep. It's one of those things where it feels like, what did they say? History doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme.
Right.
It kind of feels like that in particular with this gun grab, this confiscation. People call it the buyback. I hear you. I don't call it a buyback either because I did not buy my gun from the government.
Right.
And it is not the government's property. Thank you very much. But the gun grab, it feels so similar to the long gun registry.
Right.
So the so-called long gun registry, for the kids who are watching, and good on you for watching and staying informed.
Right.
Please tell your friends. Seriously, spread the word. It's going to be the young people that save us here.
Completely.
It's the gun grab in the 1990s, or the long gun. It was called the long gun registration. And back then, it was then also a Liberal government. It was under then Liberal Prime Minister Jean Chrétien, and they had justice and safety ministers who said, we're going to have a big, massive registry of long guns.
Alan Rock.
Thank you, Alan Rock, exactly. And so, again, it was the same level of disconnect between people who actually legally own firearms and use them as the tools they are versus urbanites, in this case, Mr. Rock, who don't understand what law-abiding firearms owners do and who they are. So what happened is they're like, oh, we want long guns registered. In this case, for people who don't know guns, it literally means a long gun. Like,
right.
Not
Not a handgun. Not a handgun. Anything but a handgun.
Not handguns. Not the ones you see in the movies with, the cops and robbers and stuff. No, like rifles and shotguns, typically. The ones that ranchers would keep on hand, right, to deal with pests, and also if they ever needed to put down a suffering animal. Also hunters. If you're going to go bag a deer, you need a rifle, usually with a scope. These are the tools, okay, of this trade. The story goes, they said, oh, this is just going to be one of those simple little things, and we're going to get all the farmers and ranchers and duck hunters to write their name and address and which guns they have on this, sheet of paper, and it's going to be a government registry. It's only going to cost around $2 million with an M. Fast forward, nobody is safer, and they wound up spending close to $2 billion.
Right.
For kids keeping track at home, that's 1,000 times more.
Like 30 years ago.
30 years ago. Imagine the inflation. I don't even want to look. And it was one of those silly moments where back then the Reform Party and then eventually the Canadian Alliance were all fighting against it. And the Taxpayers Federation, that's when we got really started in 1990. This is one of the things we cut our teeth on. Because we said, you know what? this is not going to make people safer because the police say so. And
Right.
2, you're going to blow a ton of money. And they did. That's exactly what happened. And now here we are again.
Yeah, and also with a public safety minister who also has no clue about the law-abiding firearms owning community, Gary Ananda Sangari, who has the funnest name to say, by the way, has no clue what the licensing and screening requirements are for firearms owners. Our friend Andrew Lawton, who is now the MP in London, well-deserved, I'm so proud of him, he really has been an advocate on this issue for years through his journalism, and now he's in the House of Commons fighting for the law-abiding firearms owning community. And he exposed the public safety minister as someone who has absolutely no clue about what is required of the firearms owning community to own the firearms that they have. I think he just thinks we could go to Walmart and just buy an AR-15. I think that's how he thinks it works.
I think so too. That, if for folks who haven't seen it yet,
I'll show the clip. I'll show the clip here.
awesome.
Have been seized so far under the buyback and confiscation scheme.
The Honourable Minister.
1,000.
The Honourable Member.
What was the price per gun that the government paid for these?
Minister.
I will be able to get back to my colleague.
The Honourable Member.
How many firearms does the government believe have been prohibited that will be collected under this confiscation scheme?
Minister.
Anticipation is about 179,000.
The Honourable Member.
Are all of those firearms semi-automatics?
The Honourable Minister.
I don't believe so.
The Honourable Member.
What other types of firearms have been banned that the government will be seizing?
Honourable Minister.
Those that are scheduled to be bought back will be removed. I can't tell you the specific ones, but they're in the schedule.
Honourable Member.
Does the minister have an RPAL?
Minister.
Can you repeat that question?
The Honourable Member.
I'll rephrase, Chair. Does the minister know what an RPAL is?
Honourable Minister.
I do not.
Member.
Does the minister know what the CFSC is?
Honourable Minister.
I do not know.
Member.
I'll stipulate, Chair, that is the Canadian firearms safety course that all gun owners in Canada have to do to get their firearms license. Has the minister ever done the Canadian firearms safety course?
The Honourable Minister.
Speaker, it's my 3rd week on the job. No, I have not.
The Honourable Member.
Does the minister know what safety classes and safety demands are expected of law-abiding Canadian gun owners?
The Honourable Minister.
This is not about law-abiding gun owners, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member.
How can the minister make that claim when he doesn't know the basic fundamentals of law-abiding gun ownership in this country, Chair?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Bill 21 is meant to get serious, dangerous weapons off our streets.
The Honourable Member, very briefly, and just confirming that he's splitting his time 3 ways.
Chair, will the minister commit to taking the Canadian firearms safety course so he'll know what he's talking about?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I do not intend to purchase a firearm or use a firearm.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. If Lawton keeps that going, then this is going to be a good session.
Yeah.
Because we need to show that these ministers either know or don't know what they're doing. They either know or they don't know what they're talking about. This is part of accountable government. And when you have a minister in charge of a massive confiscation of private property, especially from one of like the most strict law-abiding communities in Canada, like gun owners are uptight. We follow rules.
Very. Yeah.
Big time. For this minister just to be floundering around, not having a schmick about how this works is surprising. For folks who don't have their firearms licenses, you have to have a full background check. They phone your spouse. They'll phone your exes.
Yeah.
You have to, like for real. And this is just for like unrestricted. So long guns,
Right.
like owning a regular shotgun. You have to go in for a special course. Mine was being taught by a former military and RCMP dude, super nice
Same.
dude in Nova Scotia. You have to be really good at it. There's no, participation ribbons in this.
No.
You have to plaster that thing with flying colors. There's rules about where you have to store your ammo. There's rules about how you have to store your firearm. Like, you can't just throw it in your truck. Like, There are so many rules around these
Right.
things.
And you go to jail if you
Yes.
get it wrong.
Yes. It's one of those things where you don't just get a ticket. You're going to prison.
Right.
So people are very careful with this stuff. And if you want to get into handguns, which you can't now, things are such a mess right now between this government and firearms owners, you have to be able to allow law enforcement to enter your home. Like at any time.
Right.
If you're a handgun owner. Like, these are serious things. And to have this minister just not knowing the foggiest thing about it is disappointing. And it isn't just, I must say, it's not just the individual firearms owners. That's bad enough. And how much they're going to spend on this thing. Again, without making people safer.
Right.
According to the police. The police say that we shouldn't be spending money on this because it won't help. It's also the businesses.
Yes. They have stranded assets.
This is it. This is it. I'll never forget. I was speaking to a lady right in the teeth of the lockdown. I was up in Prince George, and she was running this amazing business. This mom of, I think she had 5 or 6 kids. She was amazing, and they had to close. They had to close because she had so many stranded assets that were locked up that she could not move, she could not sell. They still didn't know what they were doing, even with the so-called buyback, meaning she couldn't even get compensation at the time, even if she had wanted to with the government. It just strangled her business. I have no idea what she's doing now. But she was doing so well. It was a community hub. They were doing lessons with people. And so it isn't just the individual firearms owners. It's businesses, small, locally owned businesses that have been there in cases for decades that have been wrecked by this. And it's not right.
Well, and then there's Canadian firearms manufacturers who made small runs of an AR-15, and that was all that they manufactured. The government just put them out of business with the stroke of a pen.
Yeah.
And think about it. And the minister responsible for putting you out of business, the minister responsible for gun laws, has no idea what the gun laws are. He knows for sure that you're just not following them.
Which is, again, for folks who are listening who have friends and family who aren't in the gun world, imagine that this was your truck instead.
Right.
Imagine that it was your chainsaw, a tool that you rely upon. Imagine that it was that instead. Or if you're a sports shooter, imagine all of a sudden the government coming forward and saying, okay, we're literally confiscating your snowmobile, your skis, your poles. You're not allowed to have these anymore. Right. And I'm just doing that as a thought process because this is a private property issue as well.
Exactly.
When do you give the state the right to seize property from law-abiding, peaceful people? Do you really want to go down that route? And again, this is going to cost a ton of money, and it is the police forces, the frontline guys, who are saying, this is not where the problem is. The problem is with illegal handguns coming across the border, and they say the fact that they can't keep bad guys in jail, no matter how many times they catch them.
Yes. Yeah, because from what I can see on the news, they're actually kind of good at catching them. They keep getting back out of jail.
This is it.
And then committing crimes while they are on bail.
Yes, over and over and over again. And we're not talking about new laws. We have enough laws on the books.
Right.
All the police are saying is, how about we enforce the ones that are already here and start backing off on some of these folks. And again, here in Alberta, Premier Daniel Smith has instructed, saying we don't want to be spending precious taxpayer dollars provincially for police to go door to door, ranch to ranch, saying, hi, I'm here to seize your property. And I don't know any frontline police officer that is keen to be doing that. This is just, it should be a non-issue, but unfortunately it looks like they're going to be trying to plow ahead with this. But good on Andrew Lawton for exposing that. Yeah.
Andrew Lawton is going to continue to make some of these Liberals look like absolute idiots, and I'm here for it.
Hey, what do you think about Alberta independence? What do you think about Alberta trying to get a better deal within Canada? Do you think Alberta should have the right to vote in a referendum to separate, the same way Quebec did? There's a lot of things to talk about. Can Canada be fixed, or has the West tried that, done that, been there, and it's just not working? Well, we're going to talk about all these things in an amazing day-long conference in Red Deer, the heart of Alberta, on Saturday, June 14th. Go to donegetingscrewed.com to get your tickets now. It's going to be a full day. We'll start with a continental breakfast. We'll have panel discussions. We'll have keynote speakers. We'll even have a debate. I think that's going to be the highlight of it. David Legg, former advisor to the Alberta government, is going to make the case for Canada. Keith Wilson, lawyer, freedom activist, he was with the Freedom Convoy. He'll be making the case for independence. We'll have other people in the debates, a media panel, and people of different points of view, including different political parties. There's going to be a bit of a trade show there too. So we'll serve you 2 meals, but more than that, we'll serve you ideas you just can't get anywhere else. But it's coming up quick, and I promise you this event will sell out. There's only room for 1,000 people. And I know that there have been 1,000-person meetings about this subject all over the province. In fact, we had an event in Calgary that sold out in 2 days when we had only 350 seats. So don't be disappointed. Go to donegetingscrewed.com and get your tickets now. I'll be there. Sheila Gunn-Reid will be there. So many interesting people. Our friends in other media companies like Western Standard, Juno News, and Countersignal. It's going to be a great day. That's Saturday, June 14th in Red Deer, Alberta, all day long. Go to donegetingscrewed.com to get your ticket now. Don't wait. I don't want you to be locked out. It's going to be full. See you there. That's donegetingscrewed.com.